All right, today I've got something pretty incredible to share, especially for anyone in the nonprofit world. We're going to break down a case study that shows exactly how to take a web hosting bill of nearly $4,000 and shrink it down to less than $100 a year. Yeah, you heard that right.
But let me just start by asking you this, particularly if you're involved with a nonprofit. Is your website actually costing your mission? It's so easy to just see hosting as a technical expense, a line item on a budget. But every single dollar that's overspent on tech is a dollar that's not going towards the people you're trying to help.
So, to make this real, let's talk about our case study here, a nonprofit called php.com. And no, we're not talking about the coding language. It actually stands for Parents Helping Parents, a fantastic 501c3 that runs a big, popular community website with a ton of traffic from all over the world. And this was the number they were staring at, $3,900. That was the annual quote they got from their hosting provider. That breaks down to $325 a month, and they wanted it all paid up front. For any nonprofit, that's a really tough pill to swallow.
So what did they do? Well, instead of just signing the check, they decided to build a completely new, much smarter system. The result? I mean, it wasn't just a little better. Their site was now faster, way more reliable, and, as you're about to see, just dramatically cheaper.
Okay, so how did they build this thing? It really comes down to three core pieces. First, you have the server itself, running on the super powerful Amazon Web Services or AWS. Second, they put up a shield using a service called Cloudflare. And third, and this is the real linchpin here, they used a control center from DevPanel, which is what makes this whole setup manageable for a nonprofit team without a huge IT department. Now this slide is super important because it gets to the heart of why this is such a game changer. See, traditional platforms, they bundle everything together. You get their hosting and their dashboard in one package. It's easy, sure, but you're locked in and you pay a huge premium. What DevPanel does is genius. It unbundles them. It lets you use your own super powerful, super affordable AWS account, and then it gives you an amazing enterprise-grade dashboard to manage it all for free. You get all the power without the complexity or the crazy price tag.
Now, to really get how the costs stay so low, we got to talk about that second piece, the shield. It's called a CDN, or Content Delivery Network. Think of it like this. It's a global network of mini servers that hold copies of your website. So when someone visits your site, they get the data from a server that's physically close to them. It makes everything load way faster, and it protects your main server from getting overloaded. And for php.com, the impact was just wow. We're talking up to 250,000 visitors a month. Cloudflare handles a staggering 90% of that traffic before it even hits their main server. It blocks all the bad guys, the bots, the attackers. And that massive reduction in server load is the absolute key to keeping those AWS costs down.
So what kind of nasty stuff is it blocking? Well, one of the big ones is something called a DDoS attack. This is basically a brute force attempt by hackers to knock your website offline by just flooding it with thousands upon thousands of fake requests all at once. For any site that gets real traffic, having a shield like Cloudflare is an absolute must.
So we've got the efficient server, the powerful shield, and that awesome free control center from DevPanel. But that still doesn't explain how the bill gets to practically zero. So let's pull back the curtain on the secret ingredient, the real hack that makes this a total game changer for nonprofits. Yeah, this is the big question, right? We know the AWS server is only doing about 10% of the actual work, thanks to Cloudflare, but it's still work. So how on earth do you get that monthly bill from Amazon Web Services to basically just disappear?
The answer is one simple name, TechSoup. If you're in the nonprofit world, you might already know about these guys, but if not, listen up. They are an absolute lifeline. They partner with huge tech companies to offer donated or heavily discounted services just for nonprofits. And this right here is where the magic happens. Through TechSoup, a registered nonprofit can buy $1,000 in AWS credits for less than $100. For php.com, since their actual server usage was so low, that $1,000 in credit was more than enough to cover their entire server bill for the whole year.
All right, let's put it all together. Let's look at the final numbers because this is where your jaw might just hit the floor. Okay, here's the new reality for php.com's annual cost. You've got $95 for those AWS credits through TechSoup. They opted for Cloudflare's Pro plan for some extra security, which is $240 a year. And that amazing DevPanel dashboard that makes it all click together? Totally free, $0. That brings their grand total for the year to just $335.
And this chart just says it all, doesn't it?
On the left, that scary $3,900 quote, and on the right, the new reality of $335. It's not just a little savings, it's a completely different world.
Let's put one final number on this. That is a 91.4% savings. I mean, that's just an absolutely massive, incredible reduction.
And here's what's so cool. It can get even cheaper than that. For a lot of smaller nonprofits, you don't even need the paid Cloudflare plan. Their free plan is fantastic. And if you do that, well, your entire annual hosting cost becomes just the $95 you paid to TechSoup for the AWS credits. That's it. $95 for the whole year.
So, we end right back where we started. This strategy saved parents helping parents over $3,500. And that just leaves one final question for you. What could your mission do with that extra money? That's the power of this hack.